Okay, so it's early May and we're out in the new garden. I just want to take a few moments to show you something I found very useful and I've seen very few people using over the years. If you like to grow tomatoes and you've used those conical wire cages you find in like Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, you pretty much realize that they're useless. They're just too small for the plants typically, and they can't support the weight, and they end up in the trash can probably after a year or two. I saw my farmer buddy using something like this, and it was doing a great job. His plants were huge, as you can imagine, with all the manure he was using. Completely filled the cage. And all it is some concrete remesh they use to reinforce concrete when they pour pads. It's got about a 6-inch square here, so it's easy to get your hand in and get the fruit. And it's very strong. It's made out of steel. And you can make them as big or small as you'd like to. And they're probably going to stand up to the weather for quite a few years. I mean, they are meant to go inside the concrete. And if they do rust, eventually, throw them away and get some new ones. I mean, these have been around for probably 10 years and they're still going strong, so. Alright, let's see how you do it. Okay, so here we're looking at a roll of concrete remesh. That's remesh, R-E-M-E-S-H, it's all one word. And this one is 5 foot tall, and it was about 100 foot long when I originally bought it. I just checked on the Lowe's website. They're offering a 5 foot by 150 foot roll for $120 these days. It's early 2017, and you might be able to buy smaller or larger rolls as you require it. And the best way to measure these off the roll is just count the number of complete squares you have, from side to side. So going all the way from end to end, we've got 12 complete squares, and that's how much we'll cut off of the roll over here to make a new one of these. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just going to take and cut these off. Like I said, we want to make sure we have a complete square on both sides. The easiest way I found to do this is just with a pair of bolt cutters. This is a pair of 18-inch bolt cutters I got from Harbor Freight for, who knows how low, ridiculous price, but they work great. You could also use a metal cutter, a metal cutting wheel and a grinder, or a hacksaw if you really want to make yourself suffer, or whatever works best for you. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we want to roll off enough, and we said before we're going to use 12 complete squares to make our cage, so we have to roll off 12. This is the hardest part because this stuff is springy. And you want to make sure you don't scratch or cut yourself when you're doing it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there's 12. We want a complete one, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut right along here next. She's free. As you can see, this isn't exactly rocket science. Okay, so the next one we want to do is we need to have some of these be just prongs so we can stick them into the ground so this thing isn't going to walk around. And basically all we're going to do is, snip off right here. So we're basically going to take off this bottom ring, which works out good since this is bent on this end anyway. Okay, so we're almost there. All we here have to do is take and fasten these two sides together, and then we can go stick it into the garden, ready to go. I found the easiest thing for me is just to get these cable ties and just take 3 or 4 of them and secure the two sides together. The key to buying cable ties is to buy them in the biggest packs you possibly can. The more you buy, the cheaper they are. And when you buy onesie-twosies from Lowe's, they're pretty ridiculously expensive. Okay, so there you have it. I just used 3 cable ties, one at the very top, one somewhere down around the middle, and one at the very bottom. And just go ahead and take a pair of diagonal cutters here and snip this off so it's nice and neat. Or you can leave them on if you want to. And just as I noted before, you're going to have some sharp edges from where you did the cutting. So if you have small children, or you're prone to accidents, or you're just worried about getting tetanus, you may not want to go this route and just forget this plan and turn this video off right now. And then before closing out, just one final reminder, don't forget to pick up all those little pieces we cut off and throw them in the trash so they don't end up in a tire, or worse yet, your foot or something. And of course, this hoop, you might just want to take your bolt cutter and cut it into small manageable pieces so it'll fit inside your trash can, so you don't scratch or cut yourself when you're trying to bend it up, because it is pretty rigid. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the logistics of this guy. That cage I just built that's about 2 feet across is about 80-inch run of material. If you get a 150-foot roll, that's 1,800 inches. If you divide 1,800 by the 80-inch per piece, you're going to come out with roughly 22 pieces you can make off a 150-foot roll. And if you divide that by, it's $120 at Lowe's now, you 22 pieces, you're paying roughly $5.50 a piece. Got to add some tax in there, of course. Now, what if this is too much, 150 feet, you don't need 22 pieces. Maybe you could find a shorter roll. I think the first time I bought it, I found a 50-foot roll. And maybe you could get your neighbors together, go in, buy a roll, and split it up, and everybody gets what they need. So, a couple of different options there. Alright, so just one last thing before I jump off here. Just wanted to show you another good use for these cages. This is Japanese maple. As you can see, we're bordered by the woods. There's quite a few deer around here. This is actually the second tree I've had in here because the deer just love to destroy these trees, especially when they're young. They just came up, and I don't know if they chew the bark off or hit it with their antlers. And anyway, $75 and up for a tree. It's very expensive to keep replanting them, so just take one of these cages and put it around there. It's been around here for a few years, and this tree's probably been in here 3 years now, and all is well, I'm pleased to say. So I just left this one open, and there you go.